Right, so today we're going to tackle one of the most confusing aspects of photography, and that is aperture. So stick around. What's up everybody, welcome back to another video here at Benham Media. My name is Nathan and it's an absolute pleasure to see all of you here today. Thank you so much for clicking on that thumbnail. Now before we get started, I'm going to let you know that I use the hashtag over on Instagram, which is BMPix2020. So if in fact you do use Instagram to show off your work, please consider starting using this hashtag, and that way I will show your work on this channel and I'll start shouting you out. So please consider using the hashtag. Also, if you are new here, why not consider subscribing? Even if you're not new here, if you've seen me a few times and you've not yet subscribed, I think now's a really, really good time to do so. So yeah, head down there and play around with that little subscribe button. That way you are up to date with everything that we post here on our channel. We are now going to be talking about aperture today. Now, every time you take a photograph, you are in complete control of how much light enters your camera. And there are three different functions within your camera that once you learn how to juggle these functions, you can start taking better pictures. And that is shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. And today, I'm going to show you, or I'm going to try to show you, what is aperture. Now, aperture is a hole that you will find inside your lens, which you can make bigger and smaller and control how much light enters your camera. Now, it works exactly the same as your pupil. So in darker conditions, it dilates and gets bigger, and in brighter conditions, it contracts. Now, the hole is measured in f-stops, and f-stops can be very, very confusing because the higher the number, the smaller the hole is, and vice versa. Now, aperture is actually found in your lens and not in your camera. So depending on the lens that you are using at the time will determine your range of f-stops. So for example, my 50mm has a range of 1.8 to 22 f-stops, and the 18 to 55, which I use for recording, has a range of 4 to 29 f-stops. So they are slightly different in every single way. So depending on the type of photography that you want to do, determined on the type of aperture that you want, will determine on the type of lens that you want as well. Now, of course, as we go down to light and overexposing or underexposing your images, it will depend on how much light you let into your camera via the aperture. So of course, if you have a sort of a low f-stop, so that means your lens is open very, very wide, it is letting a lot of light into your camera. So it means that's when you have to adjust the shutter speed and the ISO to sort of counteract that. But also, again, if you are using a high f-stop, which means you are narrowing the hole so it's quite small, which means you are restricting the amount of light coming into your camera. So again, you're going to have to play with the ISO and shutter speed as well. But again, just like shutter speed, depending on the different focal lengths that you are using in your f-stops will determine the type of photographs that you can actually take. So let's have a quick little look at these. So with aperture, it also helps with the depth of field. So a lower aperture, which means your lens is open wider, letting in more light. It means you can pinpoint a certain bit of focus. And as you go up the f-stops, it means more and more of the scenery of your actual frame comes into focus. And using my friends from 100 Acre Woods, Mr. Pooh, Tigger, and Piglet, I'm going to demonstrate that. So the first photograph was taken with a 1.8 aperture on the 50mm. So that means Winnie the Pooh is in nice focus in the foreground, and Tigger and Piglet in the background are out of focus. And as you go up, so on an f-stop of 4 and then an f-stop of 8, up to 11 to 22, you will see one after another that Tigger comes into focus and then Piglet. So you want to bear this in mind for the type of photography that you want to do. If you are doing portrait photography and you're taking photographs of people, of course you want your model in perfect focus, but it is nice to have a blurry background. So you want a lens with an aperture quite low so you can get your model in perfect focus, but everything else around them is blurry. But if you are looking to do an architecture or even landscape, you want to get all of your frame in focus. So again, you want a high f-stop lens, and that will give you the different type of styles of photography that you like to do. But again, it is the juggling act. It is the juggling act between the 3 different functions. Of course, if you are doing a nice tight image of a person, means your aperture is nice and wide. That means you are letting more light into your lens. So again, you're going to have to juggle with the other 2 functions. And it is a juggling game. That's exactly what this whole process is. And once you get your head around these 3 functions, everything becomes a lot easier and a lot more fun. So it means you can go from these personal settings from your camera and start using the manual. But apart from that, guys, that is it, done and dusted for this video. I hope you have found it interesting. I hope you've learned something. If you have, please tell me in the comments below. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name's been Nathan. You have been sensational. Thank you and goodbye. Mwah, 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 mwah.